How's it going, guys? Brian Cusco here at Triple B. If you're going to be keeping snakes, there are certain supplies and tools you're going to need in order to do so successfully. And today we're going to talk about all those supplies and how you might use them. You're watching Triple B TV. You guys are wondering one thing, I'm sure, which is where is the Tinley footage? The Tinley footage is coming. Next week we're going to interview Lindy Johnson from Freedom Breeder. He was at the Tinley show, but we did this interview beforehand. And the week after that we're going to start digging into the Tinley stuff. I haven't even had a chance to look at it yet, so hopefully it comes out alright and I'm not lying to you right now. Alright, let me start out by saying there are many different ways to use supplies and many different supplies you can get that will help you achieve the same results, which is keeping snakes successfully. I'm not going to pretend that I know the best ways, but I do know some ways that are pretty good. I'm constantly learning new and better techniques to keep snakes successfully. And if you guys don't see something here that you think I should have today, please leave a comment down below. Or if there's something you use that I don't, then let me know as well. I'm here to learn just as much as you guys are, so if somebody you know could benefit from this video, please share it and let the rest of the world see it too. Now, we're not going to go over things like caging and heating. We're going to go over things like supplies that you actually would need to replenish and tools that you'll have your hands on every single day. Literally hands-on tools. If you want to see a video on caging, check out this one right here. Or if you want to see a video on how to keep your snakes heated at the proper temperatures, you can check out this video here. Alright, let's start with the hygrometer thermometer. It lets you know what the ambient humidity and ambient temperatures are in any given spot. I have one of these in every single one of my enclosures just so I can keep an eye on what the ambients actually are. This next tool is crucial. A temp gun. You just point this little dude at any spot and it'll tell you the exact temperature in that exact location. For example, inside my mouth right now, it is exactly 93.9 degrees. This thing is sweet. This is one of my favorite tools. Just fun to play with. Like shoot stuff. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Substrate. I will go as far as to say that substrate is a necessity. You must have substrate. Aspen, coconut husk, cypress, paper, newsprint, corrugated paper, paper towels, something down to give your snakes to lay in and be comfy and soak up any of their urates and poop and all that kind of good stuff. And also maybe maintain humidity, such as this coconut chip here I use in all my tubs. I used to use paper towels in the ball python tubs, and I was kind of having an issue with humidity staying consistent, so I switched over to this coconut husk Repti-Chip stuff, and it works pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it, and it looks good too. And the aspen, shredded aspen, is my favorite, and I like to use it for things that don't need so much humidity, like the corn snakes. But yeah, some kind of substrate you're gonna need. Now, speaking of paper towels. I actually have a subscription to paper towels, and every couple months I get sent a huge box of paper towels. Of course I recycle them all, but man, I go through these things every day. Every single day, paper towels, wiping stuff out. It's just paper towels. You need them. And water dishes are something else you will need. I personally use these 16-ounce deli cups almost exclusively. In these Freedom Breeder tubs here, they've got nice little built-in holders that keep them in place, which are awesome. And in any of the tubs that I don't have those little holders in, like the Vision tubs and whatnot, boop, I've got this little 4-inch PVC coupler. You can get this at your hardware store in the plumbing section, and these little 16-ounce deli cups slide right in. They just slide right in, and they just slide right in. Now, you will also need some sort of cleaner or disinfectant. I like to use F10 or this stuff called Wipeout, which works fairly well to kill all the bacteria that is left behind when your snakes make a duty. I've also heard chlorhexidine is some good stuff, but I've been having trouble getting it shipped out here to California for whatever reason, so I use this stuff instead, and it works pretty well. Just follow the instructions on the bottle and you'll be good to go. Also, for cleaning, This scraper tool is fantastic. I actually just got this thing this week. And for those calcium deposits that are left behind from the urates that are just tough to get off, I used to spend a bunch of time scrubbing with the paper towel. Now I just give it a little spray with this thing, scrape, scrape, scrape it out, and good to go. I love this thing. Mite treatment is something you may also have to deal with, hopefully not, but it's very possible that you will if you keep any number of animals. Mites to snakes and reptiles are just like fleas are to dogs. It happens, it's annoying, but when it does, you want to make sure you deal with it quickly and eradicate them so they don't spread throughout all your animals. I've had mites twice, both times coming in on animals that I received, and I was able to isolate and eradicate them before they spread to any other animals that I already had here using this stuff, which you can actually put right on the animal. And the Preventamite you spray in the enclosure without the animal in there, let it air out a little bit. I'm not going to tell you how you use this stuff, I'm just going to tell you that you do need it. Maybe I'll do an episode on mite treatment specifically, but this is stuff that you're going to need. Sometimes I do preventative stuff, you know, being that this is Preventamite, and I just kind of spray around the enclosures a little bit and in the corners of the room. With the exception of those mites coming in from other people's places, hitching rides on other animals, I haven't had any mites. Dead, gone, Preventamite. Mite treatment, you need it. Hand sanitizer. It protects you from contracting salmonella after touching snake poop and sticking your fingers in your mouth, and also protects your animals. You know, anytime I'm going from this room into quarantine, or anytime I'm getting into the animals after having been somewhere else, I put some hand sanitizer on just to make sure I'm not gonna spread anything to my animals or to anybody else for that matter. Mouthwash for those snakes that just have the bad case of halitosis. You pull open their tub in the morning, they breathe in your face, and you're just like, oh god. No, this stuff supposedly you can use to get a snake that has bit you and won't let go to let go. You just drop a couple drops of this in their mouth and they back right off. This is what I've heard. I've never had to use it, but I've heard good things about it, so I always have some on hand just in case. So you might want to have some on hand too. What other methods have you guys heard about getting a snake to let go once it's lashed onto you? Again, never had to do it, so I'd be interested to hear what has worked for you. Some of my favorite tools, hemostats and feeding tongs. Obviously for feeding rats to your animals or any other prey item, just put a little barrier between your hand and the prey item. Some people like to feed with their hands, and I think those people are crazy, because why take a chance getting bit from a snake in a feeding response? That's just doesn't seem worth it to me. So I like to use these tongs, and you know, if the snake misses and you're holding the tongs wrong, it could hit it with its mouth and possibly break a tooth, but luckily snakes' teeth grow back fairly quickly and easily, and if you hold them in the right way, then you can most likely avoid them hitting the tongs even if they miss the rat for whatever reason. But I'd still rather have them hit the tongs than my hand in a feeding response. That's my personal preference. Feeding tongs. My favorite tools are these guys right here. Hooks. I like these little expandable ones. They're pretty cool. They're pretty sweet. This one expands too. I like it. This is just another thing to put a barrier between yourself and the snake. I use this only on my retics because they're gonna get big, and accidentally taking a hit from one of those guys is not something to necessarily just laugh at. I go in, I touch the animal with this and let them know it's not feeding time. In case they do have a feeding response immediately, at least they're not going after my hand. And then once I've established with them that it's playtime and not feeding time, I can put my hand on there. Again, this is just a tool to use in place of your hand, because it's not living and breathing and it's not gonna bleed. One more tool here is definitely not essential unless you're breeding and you want to find out what sex your snake is. Now you can always pop them if you know the proper procedure. There's no true foolproof way to sex a snake. If a snake lays eggs, it's clearly a female, but this is a pretty solid method as well. You just stick this probe in the cloaca down into the tail where the hemipenes would be if it's a male. And depending on how far it goes in, it lets you know if it's a male or not. Now, I'm not suggesting you just go out and buy some of these and start sticking them up your snake's butt. Please don't do that. If you're going to use these, make sure you learn from somebody who knows what they're doing, who's done this many times and can show you the proper technique. Maybe I'll do a video at some point showing how to do that, but right now I'm just showing you what supplies you might need. Again, please, please, please don't just go buying these and shoving them up your snake's cloaca. get some proper training. Thank you. Now that being said, the most important of all tools in keeping snakes or doing anything really is this thing right here. Use your brain. Think. Don't just do things just to do things. Think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And if you do that, I think you'll be successful. Ask questions of people. And if you put these tools together with your brain, I think you'll have great success in keeping snakes. Either way, it's been a pleasure. And until next Monday, you guys have been watching Triple B TV. Y'all take care.